When you go silent, they don't hear peace. They hear everything they tried to ignore. They let you go, thought you'd be the one to fall apart, thought your silence meant weakness. But oh, my friends, what they never saw coming was how that silence would echo, not just around them, but inside them. That's the twist. You didn't say a word, but suddenly they started hearing everything. The truth, the guilt, the mistakes, and the longer you stayed quiet, the louder those echoes became. Now, hey folks, picture this. Imagine being a lighthouse in the middle of a storm. You stood tall, shining your light, steady, constant, and they still chose to sail away. They thought they'd find calmer waters. But what they didn't realize was, you were the calm. And now, without you, they're out there, tossed in chaos, no direction, no anchor. They thought silence was your surrender. But in truth, it was your signal, a quiet thunder that shakes the ground beneath their pride. See, people expect noise. They're used to it, used to the fights, the messages, the reactions. That's why silence terrifies them. It forces them to face themselves. And here's what they don't want to admit. They let go of something solid, something steady, something rare. And that goodbye they whispered so easily, it's starting to feel like a curse they placed on themselves. Let me break one of the biggest lies you've probably believed, that being let go means you weren't enough. Wrong. Being let go just means you were too much for the wrong person. And your silence? It's not weakness, it's wisdom. You're not ignoring them. You're elevating above the noise. You're not punishing anyone. You're protecting your peace. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." You're not here to match their energy. You're here to rise above it. Now let's be real. It hurts. Of course it does. You cared. You gave. You stayed loyal. But pain isn't the enemy here. It's the teacher. And your silence is how you learn. It's how you sharpen your focus. They let go of you, thinking they'd feel lighter. But now they're carrying something heavier than your presence. Regret. And you're walking lighter, quieter, stronger, more free than you've been in a long time. You didn't lose them, my friends. They lost the version of you that was willing to give them everything. And now that version is gone, upgraded, evolved. And the best part? You didn't need to broadcast it. You just became it. Let them guess. Let them scroll. Let them sit in their own silence and wonder how they ever thought they could walk away from a soul like yours without feeling the storm later. And for those of you feeling like maybe you should have said more, done more, let me tell you something. You said enough. You did enough. You were enough. And now it's time to stop repeating old stories and start writing the one where you don't just survive. You rebuild, you rise, you own the silence like a king without a crown, because you no longer need one. So stay with me. We're just getting started. If you're ready to stop chasing and start transforming, drop this in the comments right now. My silence is power. Let them feel what they let go. Let them sit with what they can never reach again. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel and keep going, because your silence is about to make some serious noise. Number 1. You were the calm in their chaos. Now they feel the void. Sometimes when the storm passes, you realize the shelter you walked away from was the very thing keeping you sane. Let's get something straight. They didn't just let go of a person. They let go of peace, of clarity, of a presence that kept their chaos from swallowing them whole. And they didn't even realize it until the silence hit. Until your absence became louder than your presence ever was. Because you, my friend, were the calm they never knew they needed, until it was gone. Imagine this. Someone walking through a burning building, flames licking the walls, smoke rising all around. And in the middle of that inferno, there's one cool, quiet room. That was you, the sanctuary, the space where their storms got smaller. But instead of staying, they walked out, thinking the fire wasn't real, thought they could do better, thought peace was boring. And now the silence is suffocating, not because you're punishing them, but because they can't find that stillness anywhere else, not in anyone, not even in themselves. See, here's what starts eating at them. Why haven't they said anything? Why are they not reacting? Did I really mean that little? They expect chaos after separation. Most people throw fits, send paragraphs, spiral in public. That's the game they've seen 100 times. But when you go silent, when you withdraw without noise, that's what breaks the pattern. And breaking the pattern messes with their mind more than anything you could ever say. And you know why that silence hurts so bad? Because it removes their ability to control the narrative. They don't know if you're hurting or healing. They don't know if you're suffering or thriving. And that not knowing, that's the void. That's the consequence. You don't need to convince them of your worth anymore. The silence is doing that work for you. But let's tell the truth, shall we? Let's break the lie that's got too many people out here begging to be heard after being pushed away. The lie that says if someone lets you go, you should try harder, reach out, explain yourself. No. If they let you go, they let go of the light in their storm. They made a choice. You don't have to correct it. You don't have to make sense of it. You honor it, and then you vanish. Now that's not easy. I know. Silence feels heavy at first, especially when your heart is screaming for answers, when your mind is racing with what-ifs. But silence is strength in disguise. It's not just absence. It's presence withheld. It's restraint. And restraint is power. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." And the moment you let go of the need to be understood by them, you begin to understand yourself. But it will be hard. They conditioned you to believe your voice only mattered when they were listening. They trained you to feel seen through their eyes. So when they left, it felt like you disappeared too. But here's the reality check. You were never their reflection. You were the source. You were the center. You were the calm in their storm. And now that you've stepped out, that storm is swallowing them. And you're just getting started. You're learning that your silence doesn't make you invisible. It makes you untouchable. You're discovering that healing in private hits different. That your peace is not something to beg for. It's something to protect. And soon they'll realize what they let go of wasn't just a person. It was a presence, a steady force, and they won't find it again. So stand tall in your silence. Let it be your armor. Let it be your message. Let it echo in all the places your voice used to fill. You're not gone. You're just done giving access to someone who couldn't handle the peace you brought. If you feel this truth in your chest right now, if you're done explaining yourself and ready to let your silence do the speaking, type this in the comments. I was the calm, now I'm the storm. Say it loud, show them, show yourself, show the world around you, and stay with me. Because what's coming next? Oh, they won't be ready for it. Number 2, silence isn't revenge, it's realignment. You don't always need to respond. Sometimes silence is the loudest way to say, you don't get that part of me anymore. Let's clear something up right now, my friends. Silence isn't about revenge. It's not some secret tactic to make them miss you or some manipulative chess move to get the upper hand. That's small energy. That's reactive energy. And you've outgrown that. Your silence isn't to punish. Your silence is to realign. It's to pull your energy back where it belongs, with you. Now, picture this. You're a radio tower, constantly sending out signals, constantly broadcasting love, loyalty, understanding, care. And for a while, someone tuned in. They listened. They enjoyed the connection. Until, one day, they just changed the station. No warning, no real explanation. Just gone. And here's where most people make the mistake. They keep broadcasting. They keep sending signals, hoping to be heard again. But you've gone quiet. Not because you're bitter, but because you finally realized you're not here to beg someone to stay in range. You're here to recalibrate. You're here to tune into yourself. That silence? It's not about them. It's about you coming home to yourself. They thought your silence was anger, a passive-aggressive way of getting attention. But the truth is, they're not the audience anymore. You stopped performing. You stopped explaining. You stopped giving them the front row seat to your growth when they weren't even clapping when it mattered. And now, you're focused inward, quietly, sharply, with purpose. They'll try to label your silence. Cold, uncaring, immature. Let them, because people will always attack what they don't understand. And the kind of peace you're building now, it terrifies them. Not because you're trying to hurt them, but because they can't access you anymore. And when they can't access you, they can't control you. And that's where the regret begins. Not in your pain, but in your calm. They expected fire. They expected a meltdown, maybe even a dramatic message or two. But what they got was nothing. No closure, no reaction, just stillness. And let me tell you something. Stillness is lethal in a world addicted to noise. It makes people uncomfortable. It forces them to face the truth without distraction. And when you remove yourself without explanation, they're left with only one thing to wrestle with, their own reflection. It's funny, right? They thought they held all the power by walking away. Thought silence meant you were broken, but they got it all backward. Silence doesn't come from brokenness, it comes from clarity. You stopped arguing because you realized your value isn't something that needs defense. You stopped explaining because you're not here to educate someone who was careless with your heart. You stopped showing up because you finally understood. Not everyone deserves access to your healing. But I get it. It's tough. It's tempting to reach out, to prove a point, to let them know how much they hurt you. That desire for validation still whispers sometimes. That inner voice that says, maybe if they just understood what I was feeling, they'd change. But listen closely. You don't need them to understand. You need you to be free. And silence is how that happens. It's the sacred ground where transformation grows. No distractions, no performative healing, just raw, focused self-mastery. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." And you, my friend, are done wasting time explaining your worth to those who didn't honor it. You're not hiding, you're not shrinking, you're simply redirecting. You're reclaiming every ounce of energy you use to pour into confusion, into hope, into what-ifs. And you're planting it into purpose, into rebuilding, into silence that builds, not breaks. Because silence, real silence, is not passive. It's active. It's the gym where your mind grows stronger. It's the lab where your new identity is forged. It's the dojo where your peace becomes your sword. And soon enough, the ones who left, they'll feel it. Not because you wanted them to, but because realignment is loud to those who expected collapse. So if you're done using silence to get a reaction and ready to start using it to get realigned, speak this truth in the comments right now. I don't go silent for them. I go silent for me. Write it. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world that your silence is sacred ground, not a strategy. Stay with me, because what's coming next, it'll shake them more than any words ever could. Number 3. They expected reaction, but you gave them reflection. When you no longer react to their chaos, you become the mirror they can't look away from. They thought they knew how this would go. They let you go and waited for the performance. They expected fireworks, anger, confusion, maybe even a desperate message at 2 a.m. They expected noise, but instead, you gave them something much harder to face: silence. You didn't react, you reflected, and suddenly, they weren't dealing with the version of you they thought they had power over. They were standing in front of their own actions, raw, unfiltered, undeniable. Let's be real, folks. Most people aren't ready to meet themselves. They don't want to see the truth in the stillness. They want distraction. They want drama. Because when you react, they get to make you the problem. But when you don't? When you just go quiet, pull back, disappear into discipline? Oh, that's when it starts to sting. Because now, there's nothing standing between them and the truth. Picture this: a wild animal thrashing in a cage, used to shaking the bars and getting a response. Every noise it makes, every hit it throws, it expects a reaction. But one day, the cage doesn't shake back. One day, the walls go still. No noise, no echo, just space. That's when the animal realizes it's not fighting something anymore. It's fighting itself. That's what happens when you go silent. You stop feeding the cycle. You stop being part of the chaos. And they're left alone, wrestling the consequences of their own choices. See, they didn't think your silence would last. They thought it was a tactic, a phase, maybe something to get attention. But then the days stretched on. No posts, no messages, no mentions, just the vacuum of your absence and the deafening volume of their own conscience. That's the part they never saw coming. They weren't prepared for clarity, because silence, real silence, it doesn't just create space, it becomes a mirror, and some people aren't ready to look in it. You didn't lash out. You didn't try to make them feel what you were feeling. Instead, you let them feel what they caused on their own. And that, my friends, is psychological warfare without lifting a single finger. Not because you're trying to hurt them, but because you've chosen to stop hurting yourself. You've stopped reacting to someone who no longer deserves a reaction. And in doing so, you've taken all their power away. Quietly. Completely. But let's talk about you. Because in the silence, you started to see things too. You started to see how many times you excused the inexcusable, how often you explained away red flags because you loved them, how you showed up fully for someone who only showed up when it was convenient. That realization, it doesn't make you bitter, it makes you wiser. It turns you into someone who doesn't chase clarity from others because you've found it within. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And you've mastered the rarest reaction of all. None. Not because you don't care, but because you care too much about your peace to let it be shattered by someone who didn't know what they had. That's not weakness. That's power. The kind of power that doesn't announce itself, but is felt. They thought they'd see a storm. Instead, they're watching the sky go still, and it's messing with them. Because now they're not sure what you're thinking. They don't know if you're broken, healing, thriving, or moved on. And that not knowing, that uncertainty, it becomes a loop in their head. While you're rebuilding quietly, they're replaying the moment they let you go, trying to figure out if they just made the biggest mistake of their life. And maybe they did. But that's no longer your concern, because you didn't go quiet to be noticed. You went quiet to heal, to realign, to reflect, not just them, but yourself, and what you're building now in that quiet. That's what they'll never have access to again. Not because you're cruel, but because they gave up their seat at the table. You didn't remove them. They removed themselves. So if you're done reacting and ready to let your silence become the mirror that shows them what they truly lost, type this in the comments. My silence reflects the truth. Say it loud. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world around you that your power doesn't need to shout. It just needs to stand. Stay with me, because what's coming next, it'll speak volumes without saying a word. Number 4. When they don't hear from you, they hear themselves. Silence doesn't mean you have nothing to say. It means they're finally forced to hear what they've been trying to avoid. Let me tell you something powerful, folks. When they don't hear from you, they don't hear nothing. They hear everything. Every moment they tried to downplay. Every word they thought you'd never swallow. Every time they thought walking away would make them the one in control. Because silence, real, unshakable silence, it doesn't create emptiness. It creates a vacuum, and inside that vacuum, their conscience starts screaming. You see, most people think your voice is the problem, that as long as you're expressing your feelings, they have the upper hand. They think if they ghost you and you text back, they've won. If they ignore you and you react, it feeds their ego. But when you say nothing, when you just go still, that ego starts to starve. Because the silence you leave behind isn't blank space. It's a canvas where they start painting their own guilt. Let's paint a picture. Imagine a hallway echoing with every footstep, every breath. Now imagine someone walking down that hallway, expecting noise, maybe voices behind the door, maybe a slammed response. But there's nothing, just air, still, cold. That's where their thoughts start to get loud. That's what your silence becomes. The hallway they walk down alone, replaying every misstep, wondering if they miscalculated, if maybe, just maybe, you were the one holding more power than they realized. And here's the thing, you were, not because you yelled, not because you fought, but because you refused to explain yourself. That silence, that wasn't submission, that was elevation. That was you deciding they no longer deserved front row seats to your emotional life. And the moment you made that decision, the balance shifted. Now, let's break this lie, right here, right now. The lie that says silence is weak, or that you owe people closure. You don't. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself the kind of emotional stability that doesn't need outside validation to stay upright. Seneca said, "The greatest blessings of mankind are within us and within our reach." He was talking about the strength you're tapping into now, the power to go quiet without falling apart, the ability to disconnect without bitterness. That's what real growth looks like. It's not loud, It's not flashy, it's not performative, but it shakes people more than screaming ever could. Because now, they are the ones having the conversations in their head. Did I mess up? Why haven't they said anything? Were they stronger than I thought? That inner dialogue. That's regret whispering in their ear. That's accountability creeping in, uninvited. They never thought your silence would last, and now it's wrapping around them like fog, suffocating their ability to move on freely. And while they're lost in the noise of their own mind, you're finding a peace they'll never touch again. Because you're no longer responding to pain. You're rising above it. Now I know what you might be thinking, but I still feel like I should say something. I want them to know how I feel. I want them to understand. That's normal. That's human. But let me be blunt. Understanding doesn't come from what you say. It comes from what they feel in your absence. When you pull your energy back, when you stop dancing in their chaos, they don't get clarity from your words. They get clarity from their own silence. Because they're not just missing you. They're missing who they were when they were around you. And now that you're gone, that version of themselves doesn't exist anymore. And you're not just healing. You're leveling up. Your silence is becoming your superpower. It's the discipline you never knew you had. It's the emotional strength that doesn't need to prove itself to anyone. They may never admit it, but trust me, they feel it. Every quiet second, every message you don't send, every story you don't post. It all speaks louder than words. So if you're ready to let your absence do the explaining, to stop begging for closure and start living in peace, speak it in the comments below. My silence reveals everything. Say it boldly. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world that when they stopped hearing from you, they finally started hearing themselves. And by then, it was already too late. Stay with me, because what's coming next, that silence, it's about to echo in ways they never saw coming. Number 5. Distance is discipline, and that's why it hurts them. Don't confuse stillness with weakness. Sometimes silence is the most disciplined scream you'll ever release. Let's talk about something most people never expect. Why your distance hurts them more than your anger ever could. You see, they were ready for the fight. They had a script in their head. You'd reach out, you'd break down. You'd beg for clarity or closure or some half-hearted explanation. That's what people like that count on, your reaction. But when you chose distance instead, when you walked away without flinching, without a word, without a scene, that's when their world started to shake. And here's the truth they won't say out loud. They weren't expecting discipline. They weren't expecting you to have the kind of control that says, I don't need to be seen to stay strong. Most people are predictable after a breakup. They rant, they cry, they post sad stories hoping someone's watching. But you got quiet, you got sharp, you got dangerous. Because nothing is more dangerous than someone who chooses discipline over drama. Think of it like this. You're a fortress, stone, steady, still. When someone walks away expecting you to crumble and finds you still standing, they don't feel relief. They feel regret. They expected your world to collapse because their presence is gone. But when you show them that your world never revolved around them, that's when it cuts deep. That's when they realize the power they thought they had was borrowed, and you just took it back. See, distance isn't cold. It's calculated. It's the decision to stop leaking energy into places that only drain you. You're not being cruel, you're being clear. Clear about what you'll no longer tolerate. Clear about who gets access. Clear about who no longer does. And that clarity, that's what breaks them down. Not because you're trying to, but because they've never had to face the consequences of losing someone who chose self-respect over emotional chaos. But let's be honest, distance isn't easy. Not at first. It takes a warrior's heart to stay silent when everything inside you wants to scream. It takes power to keep your phone in your pocket, to not check their feed, to not respond to the bait. But every time you choose stillness over reaction, you're proving something, not to them, but to yourself. You're proving that your peace isn't up for negotiation anymore. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That's the kind of discipline we're talking about, the kind where you don't chase what confuses you, the kind where you don't speak just to fill the silence, the kind where you choose yourself over and over again, even when your heart still aches. That's what Stoicism is. Not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of it. And while you're staying disciplined in your silence, guess what's happening on their side? They're spiraling. Because every day you don't reach out, they wonder why. Every time you don't react, they question if they ever really knew you. And they'll start retracing steps, looking for signs, trying to figure out what they did wrong. That's not pettiness. That's the price of your absence. Because your distance doesn't just remove your presence. It removes their comfort, their security, their illusion of control. You're not the same person who would have folded. You're not the same person who needed to be heard just to feel seen. You've upgraded, quietly, ruthlessly, with focus. While they were expecting noise, you were building strength. While they were playing games, you were setting boundaries. And now your silence speaks volumes, not to win them back, but to remind yourself you were never meant to be where you weren't respected. So if you're done explaining your distance and ready to let your discipline be your message, drop this in the comments. My distance is self-respect. Say it with pride. Say it with power. Say it so they feel it in the silence they thought would break you. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world that distance isn't punishment. It's a promise. A promise to never betray your peace again. Stay with me, because the deeper we go, the more they'll wish they never walked away from the storm that learned how to stay still. Number 6. They thought you'd wait, but you started building. They thought they paused your life when they left. What they didn't realize is, while they stopped looking for you, you started looking within. Let's get this straight, my friends. They didn't just walk away, they paused you in their mind. Like you'd be right there, frozen in time, waiting, stuck in place, silently hoping for them to come back, maybe even weaker, more desperate than before. That's what they expected. That's what most people expect when they leave someone they think they had emotional power over. But the moment they stepped out, you didn't pause, you pressed play. Not on chasing them, but on building you. They thought silence meant stillness. But what they didn't see is that your silence wasn't passive. It was preparation. It was the blueprint unfolding, the digging of a foundation deeper than anything you'd built before. While they thought they were the main character walking out of your life, you were in the back room laying bricks. Bricks of self-respect, of emotional clarity, of new standards they'll never qualify for again. Imagine a construction site. At first, there's just a plot of dirt, empty, nothing flashy, nothing to show off. But day by day, stone by stone, something unshakable begins to rise, quietly, without applause, without updates, and when it's finished, it doesn't even look like what used to stand there before. That's you. You're under construction, and they don't even know it yet. You know why? Because you stopped showing them your progress. You stopped living like your healing needed to be seen, to be real. That was the shift. And it's eating at them. They keep checking in, maybe not openly, but subtly, through mutual friends, old messages, late-night stalking. Why? Because they expected you to stay the same. And instead, you became unrecognizable. That's the price they pay for underestimating someone who chooses discipline, for thinking your silence was a weak man's retreat, when really it was a warrior's focus. See, people who leave thinking they're the best thing you had always expect to come back to the same version of you. But when they return and find you upgraded, not louder, not colder, just unreachable, that's when regret hits with full force. They didn't just lose the person they walked away from. They lost the person you became because they walked away. And that version, that stronger, wiser, more focused version, doesn't have space for people who needed to lose you just to see your value. But let's be honest, this part is lonely, because building doesn't come with cheers. You're going to have nights where the silence feels heavy, where the desire to be seen creeps in, where you wonder if maybe, just maybe, they'll realize it and come back. And in those moments, you'll be tempted to pause the construction, to check their page, to reach out, to break the silence. But don't. Keep building, because the world doesn't need another man who folded. The world needs you, the one who stayed the course even when it got quiet, the one who turned pain into architecture, the one who realized that healing isn't about getting them back, it's about getting you back. And every time you don't look back, you lay another brick. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." You've stopped arguing. You've stopped debating your worth. You're just becoming. Silently. Solidly. So that one day when they try to return, when they start to feel the loss, when the silence finally breaks them, they'll find nothing familiar. No door to knock on. No version of you waiting. Because you didn't wait. You didn't stall. You didn't beg. You built. And that kind of transformation, that doesn't scream. It stands. It becomes a monument they can only look at from a distance, never touch again. So if you're no longer sitting in the ruins of what they left, and you're ready to keep building until you become unreachable, drop this in the comments. I build while they doubt. Say it with grit. Say it with pride. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world that you don't wait for closure. You create it. In silence, in discipline, in progress they never deserved to witness. Stay with me. The next part of this story. That's when the silence turns into legend. Number 7. Their ego can't handle being ignored. The strongest way to shatter someone's illusion of control is to stop giving them anything to control. Let's break this down, my friends. This part. This is where the silence cuts deep. Not because of what you said, but because of what you didn't. No reaction, no chase, no just checking in messages. Nothing. And that kind of nothing, that breaks egos in ways your words never could. Because the one thing they never prepared for was being ignored by the very person they thought would never stop reaching. See, it's not love they fear. It's not even hate. People can handle strong emotions, Those are familiar. They're still part of the game. But indifference, oh, that hits different, because indifference means they no longer matter. And when someone realizes they've lost access, not just to your time, but to your emotions, your energy, your attention, that's when the unraveling begins. They didn't expect you to hold the silence this long. They were banking on the typical script. A few days of silence, then a subtle post, a story, a reach out, something, anything to tell them, "Hey, I'm still thinking of you." But instead, you became a ghost with a purpose. Not haunting them, but haunting their ego. You see, your silence became a mirror, and what they're seeing now is everything they ignored when they had your presence. Picture a puppet master holding the strings. That's how they saw the dynamic, like they were pulling emotional levers, knowing you'd respond. A text here, a breadcrumb there, and you'd jump. But now the strings are still. And the puppet is gone. And for someone who built their confidence around control, that stillness is terrifying. Because here's the brutal truth. They don't miss you. Not at first. They miss control over you. They miss being able to trigger a reaction, to feel important, to know that somewhere, somehow, you were still orbiting their world. And the silence you've created, it took that away. You stopped orbiting. You became a star collapsing inward, dense, powerful, untouchable. Now, here comes the lie that we've got to smash. If they're not reaching out, it must mean they don't care. No, silence doesn't mean they're at peace. Sometimes it means they're paralyzed, too prideful to admit they messed up, too stunned to face someone who didn't break the way they expected. That's what your silence does. It forces people to sit with the consequences of their own actions. No noise to distract them, no arguments to twist the narrative. Just them and themselves. And you stopped playing the game. You're no longer trying to win someone back who treated you like a backup. You're no longer playing emotional fetch for someone who fed you crumbs. You're not cold, you're clear. Clear about your worth. Clear about your peace. Clear about what you'll never allow again. And that clarity doesn't need to shout. It just exists. Unapologetically. Seneca said, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable." That's what you're tapping into now. Not loud revenge, not forced indifference, real, earned, unbothered energy. The kind of power that comes from doing the work silently while they assume they still hold a piece of you. And while you're doing that, their ego is quietly cracking. Because nothing messes with someone who thought they were unforgettable, like realizing they're not even worth a second of your time anymore. That your energy has been redirected inward, into growth, into healing, into silence that's building, not breaking. But be honest, it's not easy, right? There are moments the old version of you wants to send that message, wants to prove you've changed, wants to say, "Look what you lost." But the new you, the disciplined you, knows better. Knows that silence is more powerful than any speech, that being unreachable says more than any paragraph ever could. So if you've stopped explaining yourself, stopped feeding egos, and started reclaiming your own power, type this in the comments. My silence broke their illusion. Say it with certainty. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world that when you go quiet, it's not retreat. It's rise. Stay with me. Because the silence, it's just starting to do its loudest work. Number 8. Your silence becomes their story, but too late. By the time they understand your silence, you'll have already become someone they can't reach, someone they helped create, but will never meet. Let's get one thing clear. They thought you'd just be a memory, a soft echo, someone they could file away, revisit when it was convenient, or recall on a lonely night like flipping through an old photo album. But they didn't realize something much heavier was happening behind that silence. While they thought they'd turned the page on you, your silence became the story. And it's not one they wrote. It's one you're writing without them in it. In their mind, they left you in a holding pattern. Maybe they believed you'd wait. Maybe they figured you'd post a few sad quotes, send a couple of late-night messages, orbit them from a distance. That's what they expected, because that's what they've seen before. But instead, you vanished. Not in weakness, but in rebirth. And now, that silence isn't just absence. It's unanswered questions. And questions, my friend, have a way of echoing louder than any reply ever could. Think about it. When someone walks away and the other person doesn't react, doesn't chase, doesn't explain, doesn't even flinch, that silence becomes a mystery, and mystery becomes obsession. Why didn't they fight? Why didn't they come back? Did they ever care? Are they done? Are they over me? Do they hate me, or worse, did they grow past me? That's the twist they never prepared for. They wanted to be remembered fondly. They wanted to be missed. But what they're slowly realizing is, you stopped remembering. You stopped missing. And you started rebuilding. Not in a way that's loud or obvious, but in a way that's untraceable, quiet, steady, dangerous. You didn't just move on, you leveled up. And that upgrade? That's the plot twist in the story they thought they could control. Let's kill a lie right now, the lie that silence means you don't care. No, your silence wasn't a lack of love. It was a response to the lack of respect. It was the boundary they never thought you'd enforce. It was the moment you stopped letting your value be determined by someone who couldn't recognize it while they had it. And now, every quiet day that passes, it's a reminder to them of what they lost and how they lost it. They're starting to feel it, not in loud regrets, not in public breakdowns, but in those moments when the noise stops, when the crowd disappears, when the attention fades. That's when your absence screams the loudest. Not because you said anything, but because you said nothing. And in doing so, you took back the narrative. You're no longer the character in their story. They're a footnote in yours. That's the power of silence. It doesn't beg for clarity. It becomes the clarity. And by the time they realize that the door they slammed closed doesn't open anymore, it's already been bricked over, sealed with growth, guarded by boundaries, and protected by the version of you they never had the patience to wait for. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." And that's what you've done. You didn't retaliate. You didn't compete. You didn't stoop. You evolved. You chose peace over performance. You chose purpose over pain. You let go, not with bitterness, but with indifference. And now that your silence has spoken louder than anything else, the realization is setting in for them. You weren't quiet to hurt them. You were quiet to heal you. But healing isn't something they get to witness. That access is revoked. That chapter is closed. And now all they're left with is a story full of blank pages. Pages they thought they'd fill with your reaction, your longing, your regret. But instead, they got silence. And silence doesn't beg to be read. It forces the reader to wonder what happened after the final word. And you're not looking back. You're not waiting for the apology. You're not hoping to be understood. Because you finally understand yourself. And that understanding built something no one can take away. So, if you're done explaining, done proving, done performing, and you're ready to let your silence be the last word in a story they'll never get to rewrite, drop this in the comments. They lost the right to know me. Say it loud. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world that your silence isn't the end. It's the beginning of the version they'll never see, never touch, and never recover from. See you in the next video.